Hey everyone, welcome to day 25 of World Watercolor Month. I'm doing a botanical month, and every day I have been creating different botanical illustrations and some girl illustrations and flowers on their own. So for this spread I want to revisit the mandala that we've done on day 3. I want to create an elongated mandala, something that will be more stretched out, shorter on the sides, longer in the middle is the idea. So it will be quite ornamental and quite sort of intricate. I have already gone ahead and stamped out the swatches using this strip from the palette swatches, the same as I used for the previous spread here. It is the last week, so it's getting quite exciting as I have planned something big-ish for the last day of July. Until then, I want to focus on these more detailed pieces, but not too big, so that we can fill in this space here. I have also gone ahead and illustrated this flower, which I have explained in the previous spread. There's also some tutorials that I've done on my channel, which you can also revisit and kind of see how I do these flowers. But other than that, I'm going to go ahead and add more details, and I'm not decided yet. I've got 3 options here. I have got my summer floral stamp set, which is the latest one. I've got botanicals, which I have a few left, and florals which are sold out, but I may or may not use. So for those of you who managed to get it, you'll probably enjoy using them or bringing them back out. All of them are available on my website alyonacreates.com, so head over there and have a look. What is so fun about mandalas is the fact that it's a repetitive pattern that repeats on 4 sides. As we will be doing a slightly elongated one, I will show you how to kind of work through that. Or you can do also a short one and leave it just as a round one, but I do like to fill the space here. The stamp sets have larger elements and smaller elements, and both of them are quite handy to use for different reasons. For example, the larger ones you can repeat throughout, and then you can use the smaller ones to fill in the spaces in between. To start off with, let's use this element right here. My round acrylic block is also available on my website if you are interested. And because it's not going to fit in fully, I'm going to just hold it over the flower before I stamp it, wipe off the part that will go on top of the flower, and then stamp and repeat the same. So essentially what we have here is some of the leaves popping out. So I remember it was around the second part of the leaves. So I'm going to do that here. So already we have a lovely elongated shape. Now, the world is your oyster. There's so many different options here. I would go for something smaller and kind of audition it to see whether it will fit everywhere, because sometimes we have a little bit less space on one of the sides and it might not work. So go ahead and have a look that you have roughly the same space everywhere, and I'm going to use the same element in all 4 sides. These floral and botanical mandalas are great space fillers for your sketchbooks. On a day when you don't know what you want to do, a little mandala just brightens things up, because you can use so many watercolors with it, or you know, if you're into mixed media, you can do so many different things and just add color and textures to it. So to be honest with you, I'm quite happy with what we have going on. Not sure if I really want to add anything else, maybe just a really tiny element. I just don't want to disturb from the gorgeousness. So I'm just going to add this tiny flower, which is this little one here, is the smallest one, just in between these spaces, and that's it. One there, one there, one here, and one there. That's it. Now let's go ahead and line things out. I've got my 01. Very important that your liner is waterproof. So I'm going to go ahead and just line out the first element. Do let me know in the comments which spread has been your favorite so far. Personally, I think the girls and these structural flowers that we had the week before. So that's our mandala now done, and now we're going to go in and add a little bit of color. As always, let's start by considering the main flower color. I have been enjoying my opera pink quite a bit, so I'm going to load that into the dish. And into it, I'm going to add some of this kind of orangey yellow, which has now mixed into this gorgeous, kind of like a cherry bubblegum, vibrant, fluorescent, orangey pink. It's a really complex color to describe actually, but gorgeous. Opera pink is a must-have color in any palette, especially if you love vibrant colors. I just had a delivery that I had to attend, so not the best timing, so I'll show you what to do. Go back in where it now would be a hard line because the watercolor would have dried. So just cover the entirety of that line that you made. And now wash out your brush and go over it. Again, wash out your brush, this time just with clean water, and leaving some highlights. Bring that beautiful peach into the center of the flower. And I'll go just for opera pink on its own. Probably needs a smaller brush. There's something about the repetitiveness of mandalas, something you can relax into. Your brain perceives it as a known knowledge, so it's nothing new. You're kind of just doing what you've done before and you know what to do for the next 3 times. There is that pleasure about it. Okay, now I think I'm going to go into yellow. I feel like I want to add this beautiful yellow, perhaps with a touch of opera pink in there. That makes for an interesting color. Notice how I'm pushing the watercolor towards the top. This is because I want it to dry with a gradient and the concentration of the color to be at the top. Now, just with the tip of my brush, dipping it into opera pink, I'm just going to do one small dip into these berries like that. And that will give us a lovely little detail. And it pulls together the color palette, so we've got that opera pink just in the flowers, in the main flower as well, and it all kind of becomes more harmonious. Now let's audition a green. So this color, although lovely, it would be kind of having a bit too much warmth here, which we already have with the yellow and the oranges. And if we go further down and have something a bit more zestier, I'd say the third color from the bottom, that would probably give us a nice little color vibrancy. What I'm going to do this time is start with the green. Actually, I just had an idea and I'll try it, see how it goes. So I'm going to start with the beautiful green. First, just on its own. And then as I go lower down, I'm going to add a tiny bit of opera pink into it. Just going to have a puddle of opera pink here and just load a tiny bit of it in here. Just like that. Immediately changes our color. That might have been too much, so I'm going to go back in to the green. Yeah, so that would have been a good one. And then just on the paper mix it. Next one, back into a more yellow mix. So essentially, because there's a lot of yellow in this green, by adding opera pink into it, we're going closer to the oranges. And because we have oranges here, I'm kind of thinking it may look nice. So let's repeat that throughout the entirety of the leaves. Because I have this mix ready, I'm just going to go ahead and fill in all of these bottom leaves with this same color. And now I'm going to add a little bit of green and progress through the leaves that way. So back into the green. I think I'm going to start again with the top leaves. And now gradually add more and more of the opera pink into this. So this is closer to the bottom color. And then a bit more green. I feel like I managed to have a more subtle color change in the other leaves than I did in the first one. And it looks really pretty. It's kind of is not as obvious, it's not as striking. So I might just remove some of this green. Add a bit of that warmth to it on top. I'm going to wait for it to dry and then I'm going to add a little bit more contrast or sort of definition to it. Everything is almost dry, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this juicy green straight from the palette and I'm just going to add it in the bottom of every leaf. Now I've got a wet brush with not too much water in there, and now I'm just going to blend out these corners and sides and go through every of the leaves where I added this dark green and just blend it out right on the edges. So we still have the concentration of the color, just not hard line stopping and starting. It's a little extra step that you can do if you want to have a more finished look, but it's not necessary. If you're happy with how it looked before, then by all means leave it at that. So now I'm going to go ahead and swatch out all the colors that we used. So we just used 4 colors and we managed to get quite a few mixes out of them. So I'm going to start with the yellow actually, and because we have 8 strips, it's going to be 3 swatches per color and 4 for the last one. I think I'm going to go ahead with the opera pink again for 4 swatches, just because I can't stretch out the other colors as much as I can do with the pink, or the opera pink to be precise. So that's one. That's after we have swatched out the yellow with 3 intensities, I'm going to carry on doing the same with the orange. Now I'm going to do the pink. So with the pink I'm going to do 4 swatches, as I said before. And now the green. So there it is, day 25. Personally, I really like it. It's gorgeous. The color palette is beautiful. Let me know what you think about these dainty little botanical mandalas, and we're going to carry on with day 26 tomorrow. So I'll see you then.